And what the hell was that? I'm
Yeah.
Tyler Dunn here with Jim Monas. Welcome to the Go Long Show at golongtd.com. And we're going live right now, Jim. So this is streaming on Twitter, Facebook, the Go Long TD YouTube page. We picked a good night to fire up one of these live post-game podcasts, Jim, because I think we all kind of went into this game between the Buffalo Bills and New York Jets out there in New Jersey thinking one thing, thinking Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, fireworks, supremacy in the AFC, and it became something entirely different through the course of the game, too. I mean, we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers, but to me and to you, I'm guessing the story's the Buffalo Bills and the embarrassment. This was a joke. I mean, you can't lose to Zach Wilson. You can't lose to the worst starting quarterback in the NFL last season, a number 2 overall pick who just face planted in every conceivable way to the point where they're desperately trying to trade for Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know. I mean, Josh Allen, 4 turnovers, the 3 interceptions, the fumble, Sean McDermott, some cowardly decisions once again. I mean, I'm thinking back to the 4th and 2 early in the game to kick the field goal. You keep the pedal to the metal there. There's some lost points. Defensively, I mean, I guess you played as well as you could, but you got burned on that drive. Zach Wilson going down the field, finding Garrett Wilson, and of course there was the 83-yard touchdown run. Or not touchdown run, 83-yard run by Breece Hall. Earlier in the game, I'm all over the place, Jim. We'll get into everything, but where's your head at? I'm guessing you didn't gamble on this game, because if you did, we'd get that reaction we got from the Win game a couple years ago, I'd imagine.
No, so I did not bet on this game. Let's just start right there so I can speak very calmly. Now, if I did bet on this game and Rodgers did get hurt, because I was going to bet on the Jets, if I did take that game and he got hurt, I would have turned that game off. And I don't know how good this pod would be for my end, because I would have been so pissed off that I just took the Jets and 4 plays in, he gets hurt. All right, that's one thing. I was looking forward to this game, Tyler, because it took me back to a couple years ago when David Culley made his amazing return to Buffalo when he was the head coach in Houston. Nathaniel Hackett making his return as the great OC that we know that he is. Okay, it's proven.
Hey,
because
we don't want to break any codes, Jim. I gotta cut you short. We don't break codes on this podcast.
No code, and I'm not.
We don't criticize coaching. There's a code.
No criticizing.
Look, I've got Ella and Sonny sleeping over my shoulder. I'm not afraid to get loud if we're going to be breaking codes around here, Jim. So you watch your mouth.
It's the last thing that I would ever do is break a code. But the return to see Hackett reunite with Rodgers, which we know produced millions and millions of playoff wins, had to see this combo. Had to see it. Gets hurt right away. Okay, get him out of the game. Cue perfect Troy Aikman, who I'm a little quiet. We'll talk about Aikman another day. That's why I don't listen to games.
Real quick, I mean, Aikman blaming Gabe Davis for one of the interceptions. I mean, he never blames these quarterbacks, ever. Unless you're Jordan Love against Kansas City. He was the worst quarterback ever when Aikman was color commentating that game. But
Joe Buck made a good comment. Come on. Joe Buck did make a good comment right at the end there about Sam Martin's hold on that field goal for Buffalo to send it to overtime. It was a great hold. That punter's from Appalachian State. I scouted him. That was how far back he's been. The only reason I say that is I rarely remember like punters that I scouted. He was one that you remember at App State. Anyway, back to Aikman said that since Aaron Rodgers has been here, Zach Wilson has improved, and we're going to see this great, backup quarterback improvement. They were scared to death to call a pass. They didn't know what to do with him. He's like, he doesn't look like I can't believe they just won a game with him the way they were playing. I mean, Garrett Wilson, I don't even know what to say about that. That was spectacular. But anyway, that's not the story. The story is obvious. What the hell was it? I don't know what to say. He was shook. Like, I always think about when Ronda Rousey got punched in the face by Holly Holm, and she didn't, like, you could see like she couldn't understand, like she never really felt that. I felt like he was looking on the sideline that same way, almost like, this is my fault right now. Like, what am I doing? Almost like he couldn't believe. It's almost like Diggs was going over there saying, "Come on, come on now. We need you. We need you." He looked shook. Even the way he was throwing the ball on that last drive, I thought that overtime drive was borderline just like, what is that? What was that? That was not even professional. That didn't even look like a professional. Usually you come out and that's when you just take a breath, go back to your break, put a nice drive together, get the game and score a touchdown. They look frantic. He was off balance, throwing, fading to his left. I'm just, I don't, I'm, I'm the biggest, and you are, I mean, you are too with Josh Allen. I mean, we all know he is the reason Buffalo is what they are. Let's be honest about it. He's also going to be the reason they don't win a Super Bowl if he plays like that. And you can't now. Let's not take away anything from that Jets defense. That is a playoff. We talked about this last year. Playoff caliber Super Bowl defense. But that offense tonight for Buffalo, that's hard to believe. That's what we're watching, because it's going to be all
Right.
him. Yep, he's going to have to be a playmaker. To your point, is he may have to run a lot if that's how it's going to be. They're just not on schedule.
And that's the point, right? I think everybody wanted to see a Bills offense that had a semblance of schedule, some rhythm. There was no evolution from 2022 in this game. Same kind of issues when it was bad last year. I mean, statistically, obviously, last year's offense was very, very good. But when it was bad, the YOLO balls, the frantic Josh Allen play, just all or nothing in between. And if you're not hitting on the deep shots, what do you have? I think that's what you saw. And that's such a good point on him just looking dazed, confused, not himself. If you've got bad coaching in Sean McDermott and you've got bad quarterback play in Josh Allen, this is what you get. You lose to Zach Wilson in a Monday Night Football spot. So I guess it kind of starts and ends there. But before we really get into the nitty-gritty of this season opening overtime loss to the New York Jets for the Buffalo Bills, that's Jim Monos. If you're watching live, he has scouted for the Philadelphia Eagles, the New Orleans Saints, director of personnel for the Buffalo Bills, and now director of football ops with the XFL. We've been at this podcast a few years, so thank you to all of our new listeners, new viewers. And we completely independent, as always, at Go Long, but we are fueled by our friends at Fatty Beer. So make sure you get on in there, get your seasonals. We're going to have our live hang at Fatty very soon. We're thinking 2-3 weeks, so be on the lookout for that as well. And also on the lookout for the Ty and Bob pod. Pro Football Hall of Famer Bob McGinn and myself will be doing a weekly podcast. A lot of Packers talk, Lions talk, NFC North talk, and we'll whip around the NFL. And, of course, Brett Favre. We'll be getting those podcasts, episode number 2, I should say, rolling, I believe, next week. Got to talk to Brett to set that up. But first one was a lot of fun, and thank you, everybody who has subscribed to hear what the Gunslinger has to say on everything. So, Jim, do we start with Aaron Rodgers? I mean, we probably should kind of take this in chronological order because that's why people were tuning in.
You said something.
Aaron Rodgers as a Jet.
Fair enough, and we will. But you said something right before. You said bad coaching, Sean McDermott. You feel bad coaching? I thought that was interesting. You said bad. You said if it's going to be bad coaching and bad quarterback play, that was bad quarterback play tonight. But did you feel like it was bad coaching?
If you're losing to the New York Jets, a team quarterbacked by Zach Wilson, you can definitely hump all the statistics you want if you're going to say it was a great coaching effort, because they did well, I guess, statistically against this Jets offense because it was anemic. They were terrified to throw the football. I'm
It
just
was,
talking about the vibe of the team, the feel of it just was dead. I mean, there were so many moments. The Buffalo Bills should have just turned this into a rout. This shouldn't have been close.
No, I'm with you on that.
And that's
You
found the
can't
head
turn
coach.
the
I'm not
ball.
talking about play calling, specific
No,
play
no,
calling.
I hear you. I'm with you.
The effort level.
Mm-hmm. No, it's
lacking.
good. It's interesting, something to pay attention to. I think the whole team was just that's their guy. That's their guy. That's the quarter. That's their quarterback. That's who they know is going to get them to where they want to go. And they know he was not having his night. He wasn't having his night. Now, obviously, there's reasons for that are going to get dissected. I mean, throughout the week. What'd you feel about the pressure on Josh Allen?
I mean, he was under pressure. This is a really good Jets defense.
I mean, it's one of the best. I'll say it again. Right. It's not a crazy statement to say how good that defense is.
But is the goal to hopefully beat the New York Jets in a regular season game, or is it to once and for all smash through the door and win a championship, win a Super Bowl?
No, it's true. It's not about this. Well, I agree with you.
Spectrum. It's really disappointing for that to be the effort level. But all right, so we knew we were going to be doing this live podcast, and we both are dads with kids, and our sleep schedules are as such. So we're being awake right now at 11:47. With this kind of energy I think it's a feat unto itself. So to kind of get ready for this, Jim, I was pounding coffee like Matt Foley through the day. I went to the gym pre-workout simply to stay awake for this moment. So I missed the pregame festivities. I missed all of the heartfelt interviews that surely Aaron Rodgers gave. He did one with Aaron Andrews, I saw, and said it was great for people on Hard Knocks to see the real him, because that's what Hard Knocks typically does, to provide that authenticity. But the first sight I saw when I finally flipped the game on, Jim, I'm not going to lie, I kind of did a double take, was obviously it's 9/11 and Aaron Rodgers bringing the flag out. I'm genuinely curious because I don't know if this has been asked. Has anybody ever asked him about what he has said about 9/11 being a truther? Do you remember the Deshaun Kaiser podcast he gave, where Kaiser basically said Aaron told him to study 9/11 and you got to do your research, and I don't think anybody had followed up on that. So I guess that's the first thought I had tonight watching this game.
It was
strange.
It was set. That was the stage. That was the entertainment part of football right there to me. I didn't see all of that either. I just heard about them talking about it. But yeah, that
and
is
then
what
he
brings.
Played for what, 2-3 snaps, and that was it.
I think they said 4 snaps. Yeah, it's just you can't even. Now, Tyler, there was I don't know the exact. He has to play 1% for Green Bay to get that first round.
65%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, we don't, as we're recording,
it
seems like the Jets are kind of keeping
the
details of the injury hush-hush, but
if it's broke.
Achilles did not look good. And you can chalk it up as dumb luck, a fluke, bad turf.
That was just, I don't even know about all that.
You could, but Jim, I mean, traded for an old quarterback.
Yeah.
Who was an immobile quarterback. When you have one offensive tackle who hasn't played in 2 years, another one in Dwayne Brown, who is, I believe, 37, 38 years old. It's not like an injury to a quarterback in this situation just appears out of nowhere. I'm shocked it happened this early, but this was the fear all along. This was the risk all along for the New York Jets, is you just push all your chips into Aaron Rodgers, anoint him, give him autonomy to do whatever he wants, build up the hype. Everybody is Jets, Jets, Jets all off season, Hard Knocks. The energy in that stadium was unbelievable. And poof.
It's hard to believe.
They won the game, so they're excited. But, I mean, Zach Wilson isn't taking you to the promised land.
No. It's hard to picture that offense. Like, they're going to have to call real pass plays, like throw the ball down the field. And you obviously have a top 5 receiver possibly from what I've seen of him. So you have the weapon, but that offensive line is shaky as hell. I thought the Bills were getting after them up front, and if Zach Wilson's going to be under pressure, I don't know, man. That's going to be a tough year for the Jets, I think. Unless there's something we don't know about him, that he and Hackett have this, maybe they connect like Hackett did with Bortles, and I don't know. Well, I'm certain we'll hear about it. Hackett and Bortles.
That's going to be the comp now. The hope is that the Jets can lean into a defense like those. Was it 2017 Jags leaned into that defense, and he got something out of Blake Bortles. But man,
that Jets defense is, dang, that is no joke. I mean, they had out, like, he was forcing throws into coverage. That's always a sign to me. You know, when you see that, that's when you're like, as a coaching staff, they're going back like, wow, like he wasn't seeing it. Like, where was it? You know, where did it go wrong for him tonight, for Josh Allen? Was it the pressure? Was he forcing it? Was he trying too hard? Maybe when Rodgers goes out.
Honestly, I think it was just not being patient.
He wasn't.
The Jets do such a good job of forcing you to move downfield 3 yards, 6 yards, 4 yards at a time. Like, just daring you to do exactly what he did and YOLO a bomb downfield. Because maybe you get a little frustrated. Maybe you think it's like a punt in your head, but you're still giving the ball to the other team.
You can justify, but yeah, you can justify it as a punt. I know right when it happened, but
until Breece Hall takes off one play later, which he should have scored on that play probably. I heard Eli Manning was giving him hell on the Manning cast, right? Like, he's out of shape. He should have taken that to the house.
Is that what he said? I didn't hear that. But
yeah, it's
no, this sets up the stage for an interesting week ahead. I paid a lot of attention to the Vegas Raiders this past weekend, because I was invested in them against Denver, and they won and all that, but they were chaotic as far as penalties. Garoppolo did his typical, played a very, very good game, and then out of nowhere throws a red zone interception for no reason. You know that, but my point is, there is no reason that the Vegas defense did not show. Denver, Russell Wilson didn't look good. What my point is, the Bills offense better look right against that Vegas defense. That's my point.
Well, I think the problem central to this loss too is, okay, Josh Allen was bad, obviously.
Yeah, and it happens. You throw out your worst games, throw out your best games sometimes, and you get your true selves type thing. But that's why I'm saying next week, get back on track against the Raiders. Just get back on track.
But it's just when things go wrong around him, that's nothing new. But typically he throws the cape on, makes the big play, does Josh Allen stuff. And you saw some of that early on. I mean, Spencer Brown really struggled at right tackle. You mentioned Osiris Torrance.
I saw plenty of him struggling as well. The right guard. Right. I saw the same thing. So, yes.
The running game was meh.
Agreed.
You have a good thing with Diggs, but you're also facing Sauce Gardner, one of the best cover corners in football. Finally, you got a couple matchups on DJ Reed to tie the game at the end of regulation. But it just, if Allen can't make up for these other issues and he's the one struggling and he's the one forcing it, what is this offense? Like, what do they lean into? Where do they find their rhythm? What's their identity? I don't know. No, I really don't know. Because we've said a million times on the show how ludicrous it is to tell Josh Allen to slide and step out of bounds and be this tame, neutered quarterback. There was a point in this game even when he gained a first down running it was a good play, and the cameras went to Sean McDermott. He's pointing to his head, yelling at Josh to be smart, be smart. And I think there are moments he needs to be smart, like that he took some unnecessary hits, some throws
That
he should have made. But I don't know. I feel like when the offense is in a rut and nothing's working, and this was one of those games, and you need something, their best bet is probably to just lean into Josh Allen still, right? I don't know. What else do you turn to? They tried to run the ball with James Cook. He was okay.
yeah, I think no, I don't think you want to make the offense Allen running. I think it just needs to get back to him running when he needs to run. That to me is when he's at his best, not the designs. Just when he needs to make a play, to your point, he puts on the Superman cape and does it. They don't need Superman right now. They just need him to get let's just get let's get a solid game next week. Let's just come back. Let's take a breath. Let's come back against a Raiders defense who I'm telling you was all over the place. Now they have a dominant pass rusher and Max Crosby, but these games happen. The defense, I'm with you. One thing we should touch on, Poyer got exposed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is no way you could tell me he is not going to be targeted. That his movement skills did not look good. I mean, I don't want to say anything. We've talked about it the whole preseason of something we noticed, on the Go Long pod. But that moving forward, because that's one thing, they will get tested. The Raiders offense, that will be a good test for the Bills defense. The Raiders offense is good, though. They'll challenge you. Jacobs, Adams, Garoppolo, and McDaniels they know how to, they have a familiarity, continuity. So it'll be a little bit more, a better way to judge the Bills next week. This one you really are going to have to throw away as a Bills, like to at some point put it out of your head, because unless it obviously it can't come back for Josh Allen. Like he can't be the problem for this offense.
No. And it's I keep thinking of the Miami LA Chargers game too, Jim.
Oh,
did you watch that?
Yes.
When you really watch that game and then juxtapose it with what the Buffalo Bills offense looked like against the Jets, it's not like the Chargers are this, slappy defense either. I mean, Brandon Staley was the coach who kind of figured Tua out last year and showed defenses how to defend him. And this is why you hire offensive-minded head coaches, innovative head coaches, smart human beings like Mike McDaniel. I mean, he had 6.5 months to kind of figure this out. And all of the pre-snap motion and the alignment of different receivers, it's not like they have, I mean, the lazy thing to say is, oh, they've got Tyreek Hill. They've got a cheetah out there, and he's just running away from people. Like, it's not just that. You've got Braxton Berrios doing things. He's getting schemed open. Jalen Waddle. Tua Tagovailoa, when he catches fire, I think I've said it before, it's like you're playing NBA Jam. He can't miss. And he made some throws in that game that, frankly, I don't think we saw much last year, including that game winner to Tyreek Hill. Just the fade that is just placed perfectly right past the DB's ear hole there. I'd be worried if I was Sean McDermott and the Bills, seeing where Miami is, seeing where your offense is. I get it. The Jets are a great defense, but you can't just write it off as, oh, the Jets are really, really talented. I mean, the Bills were out of sorts on offense, and they've got to figure it out. They've got to get right against the Raiders this week.
You know what you're talking about with when you watch Miami play, their ability to scheme guys to catch the ball and keep moving, obviously with an accurate passer, but they're always moving. So they're utilizing their world-class speed and their ability to separate. I felt like the Bills, I felt like Josh Allen, I felt like he was making those guys work a little bit on some balls tonight where they're laying out for an 8-yard gain. You're catching it and plays over. Like, where are the where are those nice, like, the crossing, the spacious plays that we see with Miami? Right now, you don't see that with Buffalo. I think there is a difference when you watch those games. Now, but we have to keep remembering it is week to week league. But man, that's in your division, Miami. That offense, that's not a week to week. That is coming every week.
It's one of those gifts as a quarterback that we don't really praise enough. And I haven't really thought of much until, I mean, really, until I was sitting down with Tony Gonzalez for Blood and Guts, and he was reliving the workout that he had with Tom Brady, like a full year removed from retirement. Tom Brady invited him to the UCLA campus and made it seem like, oh, let's just have a catch and hang out. And it became like this pitch to Tony Gonzalez to try to get him to play for the New England Patriots with Rob Gronkowski. I mean, he had, I think Tom House was there, maybe even Alex Guerrero. He had all his nutritionists and all his different coaches set up, and he had Tony running routes. And there was one moment, Tony said, where like he ran a route, caught the ball from Tom Brady, it was unbelievable. And that Tom was like pissed at himself because he's like, if I would have just led you like a few more inches, that equates to this much more yak in that on that play in that kind of moment. And it didn't even like occur to Tony Gonzalez that was a thing. I mean, that is such a skill that I think extended Tom Brady's career. I mean, when we're wondering how he was winning Super Bowls into his mid 40s, it's not just the avocado ice cream, right? And it's not just luck. It's those kind of throws. I mean, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts, but it's leading that receiver in stride. Tua probably does it better than any quarterback in the NFL when it's
Definitely
in rhythm with the play.
Yeah.
Because we lose our minds when Josh Allen is leaping over a linebacker or stiff arming a DB, and it's fun, and we rightfully lose our minds. But the what Tua's doing is built to last. It really is. I mean, we're worried about Tua suffering injuries. Man, if he's playing like that, spitting the ball out, he's not going to take many hits.
That's going to be the most interesting decision they're going to have to make paying him, because the concussion thing is real. Like at some point, he's not going to be allowed to play.
I mean, that was one thing that Brett Favre mentioned on our first episode too, Jim. We talked about Tua, and I mentioned to Brett, like, Tua said this offseason that a neurologist informed him, you're not really at severe risk of CTE because you're a quarterback. You're not a lineman getting those subconcussive hits 70 times a game. And Brett Favre is sitting here saying, I'm living proof, man. Like, I thought I only had 3 concussions. And then I met with Dr. Amalu, and he's explaining to me what a subconcussive hit. And I'm telling him, oh, okay, I had thousands then. So yeah, that's a concern. And for the sake of the sport and enjoying watching this sport, I think everybody wants to be out there. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, he's fun as hell to watch.
No, yeah, we were just talking
Miami
about their
is dangerous.
Their offense is, yeah.
Their defense too with Vic Fangio. Jalen Phillips he's a beast. It's overreaction Monday, right? It's we're all going to be.
That's why I'm
making
saying
some sweeping conclusions.
I'm not. Yeah, because
got to pump the brakes. That's one instance though where I think we can go there. I think we can say Miami is.
I think that's fair. Their offense is already legit. Yeah, we knew that coming in. No, I think that's what you take away from week 1. We'll talk about that when we do our pod later in the week. But what do you take from week 1?
Because they're going to stretch Poyer and Hyde, right? You mentioned the safeties. McDaniel's going to find a way to get those safeties in space in a way that Nathaniel Hackett and Zach Wilson, I'm guessing, are unable to.
Well,
not to break any codes.
I don't even know what those plays the Jets ran tonight were. I mean, they looked like they were just like, let's get to the next series. Just don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. I mean, smart. I get it, but that's your backup quarterback. It's not like he's new. It's not like you didn't invest. He was a number one pick or whatever pick he was. I mean, damn, you can't run your full offense with him. Like, I'm serious about that. You can't run your full offense with Zach Wilson. He's that bad.
So what did it look like to you then? What were those simple plays that were driving
I
you
didn't. I
nuts?
didn't think there was any threat of them throwing the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills were. I thought the Bills were just. There was no. They weren't scared down the field. He doesn't
Hmm.
see it. Wilson does not see things. That's probably the issue. We all know he has physical talent. That's we talked about that. The issue is probably behind the scenes. Like, is he getting it fast enough, delivering it on time, seeing it? Because if you don't, that's when the turnovers happen. that's I mean, that's what I think Josh Allen's going through. I think he's doing so much sometimes, but I don't know.
But
It's
to have that conversation at this point of his career too
no,
is a little
no.
strange.
Agree.
Um, it's not all on Ken Dorsey,
No.
not all on the front office not finding other weapons, and not all on Josh Allen himself. It's kind of an unhealthy mix, I suppose. And we're not going to
No.
shift into total freak out mode because look at Joe
Not yet.
Burrow, man. I mean, Joe Burrow averaged 2.6 yards per attempt. I mean, he
I'm
looked
telling
worse
you,
than Josh Allen.
it's why you just have to we just got to take away certain things from week one, but it's not.
Yeah, this could be a game though that they look back and regret. Right, this
Oh,
strikes me as one of those games that could
yes.
keep them from hosting a game in
That's
the
where
playoffs or
I
winning
would
the
tell
division.
people that, yeah, week one division games always matter
Hmm.
for that reason, for tie breaks.
Gosh, I'm just thinking of all these different moments from tonight. I mean, Tre'Davious White, not pretty.
Well, I'm not
Some
going to count that.
tackling.
Yeah, I didn't see. I didn't.
Right. I mean,
I'm
the
not going
Garrett
to.
Wilson touchdown was
Yeah, I'm not counting
unbelievable.
that. Right.
But missing some tackles, the safeties looking a little slow. I don't know if you Terrell Bernard thrown into a really tough spot as a rookie, right? I mean, he barely played, I believe, through camp in the preseason. He's your starting middle linebacker.
I'll tell you
Matt
what.
Milano's a beast. I mean,
I
that's
was,
what you
I
can
was
hang
just
your
going
hat
to say
on for
that.
Buffalo. Man, I love that they didn't call some of those hits too. Like, yeah, just let him forearm a quarterback in the chin. We need more of those no calls for the sanctity of the sport.
Shoot, there's still
He's unbelievable.
Shaq Lawson was a Whaley Rex Ryan draft pick, and Jim Monas.
And Jim Monas, that's right. Shaq Lawson.
So we
He
still have some
stuffed,
people.
he had a big third and
Yeah,
one stop at one point, right?
he's tough. Shaq's tough. Um, yeah, this was. Would you make of that? That's what I wanted to talk to you about. The corner being a healthy scratch, Elam.
Two ways to look at it. I mean, I'm sure that they'd spin it that Christian Benford is just so good that they don't have a choice.
You can't
But that
spin.
is
You
such
can't
an
spin.
indictment on everyone.
No, no, no.
An
There's no
indictment
spinning
on
for.
personnel staff for drafting him, coaching for not coaching him up. You draft a cornerback from the SEC in the first round, you are taking that cornerback to cover the best of the best by year two. Like, and he can't even get on the field. He can't even dress. Forget getting on the field. He's not even playing special teams. That's brutal.
Agreed.
AJ Epinesa, Boogie Basham's traded to the Giants. Gregory Russo showed up. He made some plays.
You know what? He is. There's something to him because I'm always wishy washy on him. Sometimes I'm just like, is he? Because he's so long, but man, he shocks guys with his length. and he has a little power. It's a little more power to him than you would think for being a more lean type frame, like Floyd. Leonard Floyd's lean.
Speaking of this Raiders game, and I never like just moving ahead to the next
I didn't
game
mean to
so
do it. I just
quickly.
meant to. I just meant to. Yeah, I don't like to either.
I'm doing the same thing though because I want to see Tre'Davious White against Devontae Adams. Like, let's see now.
Good
A
luck.
full year removed from that injury, that's going to be a
Oh,
test.
that's tough. He is. He's a problem. He is a problem.
Right? It's going to be a completely different type of game. You should be able to find your identity offensively when you're not facing what you face tonight at MetLife. But on the other side, now Sean McDermott is really going to get tested as a defensive play caller with not just the Raiders, but a lot of the opponents that they're going to have coming down the pipe. Miami, Jacksonville.
The Bills' defense is going to have to stop the run against the Raiders. Like Jacobs, they run. Jacobs he's tough too. Like they have problems. I'm telling you, there's something about this. Like this is a game that Buffalo needs to just. They're going to find out. We're going to find out a lot more about Buffalo against the Raiders.
And we're going to find out about Josh Allen because all we
That's
heard,
he's got to get back.
OTAs to minicamp to training camp, is he's more focused than ever, more driven than ever, right? That's been another go-to messaging talking point from all parties involved. Like he is dialed in, he's focused, and not the way you want to start if that's the mentality. It didn't seem like a focused player out there against the Jets. It seemed like the exact opposite. Pretty blurry, which credit to ESPN for playing Puddle of Mud's Blurry into a commercial break. Extremely underrated post-grunge jam, if I may say so myself. Are you a Puddle of Mud fan, Jim?
No, didn't know that one. I didn't catch that reference. I didn't listen like that.
I mean, I know you're older than me, but were you a 90s grunge
No.
connoisseur? No.
I mean, I'm not against it, but I wasn't like heavy. I was never into it.
What music do you like? I never even asked you.
I grew up with like hip hop, rap,
Yeah.
R&B.
Yeah.
That's kind of where, for some reason, that's the. I grew up in like locker rooms for my father's football teams in college. So I felt like I was always hearing that. I was always hearing that music's what I always liked. So
You can't go wrong with that. But
no,
I
but
don't
that's
even know
my.
the
But I'm
last
like,
time.
but I will tell you, Tyler, I do like country. Like I'm not. I do like country, like a lot of it. Darius Rucker. I know you don't like probably Darius Rucker, but I do like some country. So
I'm more of the like Texas country.
I noticed the guys you like. I don't know those guys. They seem
Yeah,
pretty authentic though.
Childers,
Yeah,
Sturgill, Coulter
I pay
Wall,
attention
Whiskey
to who you're
Myers, a little more
listening to
Southern
because
rock.
I never heard of them, so I look them up. Yeah, it's like
But no, Darius Rucker's great. Went to a Darius Rucker concert in Darien Lake. This is 6 years back. And we actually had like, I don't even know what it was, like backstage access before his concert where we can meet him. Incredibly nice gentleman, Darius Rucker. And he posed for a picture with us. Like in the time, it was like the team photo, left over right. Just no smile, just standing there in basketball jerseys, acting dumb, whatever we were doing at the time. But at the concert, he played along. He went left over right, didn't smile, didn't miss a beat. It was like he was our friend for the last 15 years. So credit to Darius.
True pro. I don't know how we got
We
to
want
Darius
to
Rucker
probably
on
talk
this
about the other
podcast.
games at some point. Huh?
I said I don't know how we're talking about Darius Rucker on our podcast right now.
Why not? That's
I
what the
love
people
it.
want.
No, I love it. I just never would have guessed tonight at all that we would be talking about that. No, I think we get into the games later. Unless there's something you wanted to. Yeah, that was it. I don't think we can top that game. That game was that ending. Now, the punt return, that'll get dissected pretty hard. we didn't really talk about it, but I don't know who the Bills special teams coach is, but that's always when they get. That's when they always get. That's what that. See, I don't know who he is,
Smiley.
but now everybody will know who he is. Right? He will now be in the media.
They've got it out though. Before we hit record, they were replaying the tripping. Looked like Quentin Morris got tripped at like whatever it was, the 2025.
Okay.
So given Zach Wilson's an odyssey at quarterback, who knows what would have happened if they did call that. Yeah, it was a leg whip and a half.
Not gonna lie, I would have loved to have seen it.
Maybe the officials were just kind of like, oh, let's just end this game. Let's put everybody out of their misery. It wasn't really an enjoyable game. And I've been wanting like a defensive slugfest. You know, I think we need more of those. But this didn't. Let me ask you, did this strike you as just a fun, old school, defensive, physical game? Because that's how the Jets are going to celebrate this. And if the Bills would have won, that's how they would have celebrated this. But at no point was I sitting there thinking, man, love it. I did like Milano's shots here and there. But I don't know. It was as you eloquently put, Jets hanging on for dear life on offense. Let's just try not to turn it over and get the hell out of here with a punt or a field goal. And Josh Allen, hold your breath. What's he going to do wrong next? It's going to be ugly kind of feeling. That's not an enjoyable experience for any football fan, objectively, I think.
I thought it was, for how football is today, with the way the scoring is pretty much a track meet, I felt like it could be on the verge of not maybe a traditional slugfest, but man, you saw the physicality on both teams. Like, both teams are violent on defense. Jets a little bit.
And Nick Bosa in the same draft. Just remember that.
One thing I'm noticing.
I remember talking to somebody with the 49ers, Jim. What year was that? That would have been. Were you were still around?
I feel like, yeah, Bosa was
16, 17.
Yeah, he was better than I want to say. I was thinking he was going to be. He's better than Ryan Kerrigan was, and I thought he was kind of that. I didn't know, like, he is better than much better. He is dominant. Both Bosas.
Yeah.
Both Bosas are dominant.
Oh, 2019. Man, I was way off. Yeah, 2019. I just remember a scout for the 49ers mentioning to me at one point that there were people on staff wishing that they had a little bit more of a conversation about who to take. Like, it was so slam dunk Nick Bosa all the way that there were some people still thinking, let's take a closer look at this Quentin Williams character. And
either way,
he's been unbelievable. Yeah, they wouldn't have missed either way. All right, let's end it there, Jim.
That was wild. Fun. That was a good. Hey, it was a good one to pick to start tonight. That ending was crazy.
I think it's good to mix in these like emergency instant reaction podcasts where we don't really have much direction, but it is a little free flowing, and we end up talking about Darius Rucker and Puddle of Mud.
That was good.
GoLongTD.com. The Ty and Bob Pod will make its debut episode of the season shortly. Me and Jim will reconnect again. We'll get Brett Favre on the horn. And if you want to hang out with Brett Favre, become a VIP subscriber, hang out for those episodes, and you can ask him anything you would like. Everything is on the table. And really no time limit. We talked for an hour and a half on the first episode, so we can talk as long as everybody wants to. And of course, all profiles, team deep dives, Q&As, everything is available to subscribers. $8 a month, $50 a year. We would absolutely love to have you in our community. So thank you, everybody out there, for watching and listening. We'll catch you next time.